The sterling room glittered under soft chandeliers, the kind that cost more than most people's rent. Crystal glasses caught the light like tiny stars, and the air carried the rich scent of seared filet and aged Bordeaux. Grant Whitaker, 38, sharp suit, sharper mind, sat alone at his usual corner table. His tablet glowed with spreadsheets, another deal closing, another zero added to the bank balance. He barely tasted the wine anymore. It was just fuel. Then she approached. Elena Brooks. The name hit him like a punch he hadn't braced for. She was heavily pregnant, the black uniform stretched tight, apron strings cutting into her sides. Her steps were slow, deliberate, one hand always hovering near her belly as if ready to catch whatever might fall. When she leaned to pour water, a single drop trembled and splashed onto the white cloth. She whispered, "Sorry," so quietly it almost vanished. Grant's head snapped up. Their eyes locked. Time didn't stop dramatically like in movies. It just hurt. For years collapsed into that single heartbeat. He remembered her laugh, bright, unself-conscious. The way she'd curl against him on rainy Sundays, reading aloud from old novels. The night she walked out, dry-eyed, saying she'd met someone overseas. He'd believed it because believing anything else would have broken him completely. Now here she was, serving strangers while carrying a child that could be anyone's. Or no one's he had a right to claim. "Elena," he said. His voice cracked on the second syllable. She set the pitcher down with a clink that echoed too loud in his head. "I'll get someone else," she murmured, already turning. He reached out, gently, just her wrist. Her skin was warm, pulse racing under his fingers. "Wait. Please." Her eyes flicked to the door, then back to him. Fear, exhaustion, something raw and wounded. "Not here, Grant. Please." Before he could speak again, Derek Sloan, the floor manager with the permanent sneer and too tight collar, strode over. "Brooks, table 12's been waving for refills. Stop standing around like you're on vacation." Elena flinked, shoulders curling inward. She pulled away and hurried off, balancing a tray that looked too heavy for her frame. Grant watched her weave through tables, ankles swollen, face pale under the makeup she tried to apply. Derek barked again, louder. "Move it, Brooks. You're killing my tips tonight." A glass teetered on her tray. Grant stood so fast his chair scraped. "Touch her again," he said, voice low but slicing through the murmur. "And you'll be looking for a new job before your shift ends." Derek laughed, short, ugly. "This is my restaurant, pal." Grant already had his phone out. Text to his assistant, * sterling room. "Buy it. Cash. Tonight." * He met Derek's eyes. Not for much longer. Elena vanished through the kitchen doors. Grant followed without thinking. He found her in the dim back hallway, slumped against stacked crates, breathing in shallow gasps. Sweat glistened on her forehead. Her hands cradled her belly protectively. "You can't be here," she whispered. "You're about to pass out." "I've fine." But her knees buckled. She slid down the wall, eyes fluttering. Grant dropped beside her, dialing emergency services. "Stay with me, Al. Just breathe." She tried to push him away, weak. "Don't call me that. You don't get." "Shut up and hold on." The ambulance ride was a blur of sirens and beeping monitors. She gripped his hand once, then went limp. Preeclampsia, the paramedics said. She'd been ignoring headaches, swelling, dizziness for weeks. Maybe longer. At the hospital, they wheeled her straight to surgery. Emergency C-section. Grant paced the sterile waiting room until his legs burned, replaying every bitter thought he'd nursed for years. When the doctor emerged, boy 34 weeks, 4 pounds 2 ounces, fighting in the NICU, something inside Grant shattered quietly. He sat by her bed after she woke, groggy from anesthesia, for dripping steadily. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Tears tracked sideways into her hair. "Because I thought you'd hate me more if you knew the truth." "Try me." She looked away. "It's not yours. Not the way you think." He exhaled slowly. "I already know most of it. My team dug. You never left the city. Never went to Europe. You pawned your grandmother's earrings right after the divorce. Lived in that tiny studio above the laundromat on 14th. Worked doubles everywhere. Sent money, small, irregular, to accounts tied to Victor Hale and Mason Crow. Her breath caught. They threatened to frame you, she said finally, voice small. Fake embezzlement, doctored trades. They had access, old files, emails they could have twisted. Said if I didn't divorce you quietly and pay them off monthly, they'd destroy everything you'd built. I believed them. I had to make you believe I'd betrayed you. So you'd let go. So they'd have no leverage. Grant's jaw clenched so hard it ached. You let me think you cheated. You let me hate you. I had to. Tears spilled freely now. If you hated me, you'd move on. Stay safe. They couldn't hurt you through me anymore. He stared at the ceiling tiles. You carried our son alone. Worked until your body broke. To protect me. I found out I was pregnant after the papers were final, she whispered. I thought, maybe it would be kinder if you never knew. If I just disappeared. Silence stretched, heavy with 4 years of misunderstanding. He reached out, brushed damp hair from her forehead. She didn't flinch this time. Within days, Victor and Mason were arrested. Extortion, coercion, wire fraud. Ironclad evidence. Grant didn't celebrate. He just wanted them gone forever. He didn't stop at justice. He donated millions to the hospital. New NICU equipment, dedicated staff, brighter rooms for scared parents. He bought the Sterling room outright, fired Derek instantly, rewrote every rule. Fair pay, real maternity leave, no more bullying. He renamed it Elena's Table. Quiet. Honest. A booth in the back became a permanent staff rest spot. Evan came home 3 weeks later. Tiny, fierce, wrapped in a blanket Elena had knitted on night shifts. Grant had found a house on the Sound. Big windows, wide porch, room for a future swing set. Nothing flashy, just peaceful. One golden evening they sat outside. Evan slept against Elena's chest in a soft carrier. Waves whispered below. Grant knelt in front of her rocking chair. I built walls after you left, he said. Told myself I was stronger for it. But the only thing that ever really broke me was losing you. I blamed you because it was easier than admitting I'd failed when you needed me. Elena's eyes shimmered. Elite. I broke us. You saved me. He took her hand, thumb tracing old scars. You carried our child through hell to keep me standing. That's not breaking. That's the bravest thing I've ever known. He pulled out the small box, the original ring, emerald catching the last light. He'd kept it all these years, unable to let it go. I want the messy stuff now, he said. Spilled milk, 3 a.m. cries. Arguments over whose turn it is to unload the dishwasher. I want mornings with you and him. I want forever, with all the noise and love and ordinary days. If you'll have me back. Tears fell as she looked at the ring. Then at Evan's tiny fist, then at Grant. I never stopped loving you, she said softly. I just thought love meant sacrifice. Letting go. He slid the ring on. It still fit. This time she kept it. They raised Evan together, teaching him kindness in a hard world, forgiveness when it stung, holding on when everything pulled apart. Grant learned to pause, to listen. Elena learned she didn't have to carry the weight alone. Elena's Table became a place of warmth, fair, welcoming. Every year on Evan's birthday, they reserved the back booth for the old staff. They ate, laughed, remembered the nights that almost broke her. In quiet moments, Evan napping, house smelling of coffee and clean laundry, Grant would pull her close, kiss her temple and murmur, I'm here. Right here. You don't have to be brave by yourself anymore. She'd smile small real, and whisper back, I know. Because real love isn't grand gestures or billions. It's showing up in hospital hallways, on quiet porches, in the stubborn, everyday choice to choose each other again. And they never let go.